Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are going to start in a couple of minutes so that everyone can join. So please take a seat, make yourself comfortable, and for the next hour, join us in discussing about demystifying generative AI for board efficiency. We are going to start in a few minutes.
Grab your coffee, guys.
Yes. Okay. So I believe that we can start. Again, welcome everyone. I'm very happy to have you here this afternoon. And together with my colleague Laurențiu Amitroia, our Chief Innovation Officer, we are going to spend the next hour talking about demystifying Gen AI for board efficiency. It will be an interactive session, so at any moment in time, please take a few seconds. And if you have any questions or curiosities, or if you would like us to elaborate more on a topic, don't hesitate by any means and write down the question in the dedicated section, and we will either reply it on the spot, or of course, we will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. I'm very happy to have you with us today. Yes, Laurențiu, I think you want to say something.
Yeah, please drop us questions as we talk. I really love interactive sessions rather than just one-side presentations. So let's jump in. We are going to talk, as Roxana said, about generative AI for boards. Why for boards? Because we believe a change has to happen within the company from top down. When we are talking about AI, this is a really big change which is currently happening within the enterprise ecosystem, and we believe that we need to bring the board on board with what's happening.
I really like that. Bring the board on board. Great. So before jumping into the nice details and examples that we have prepared for today, I will just take a few minutes to talk a bit about Minded. And before that, also introducing ourselves, I'm Roxana, head of growth in Minded, and today Laurențiu will be our host and will guide us through the labyrinth of demystifying Gen AI for board efficiency. Laurențiu is our Chief Innovation Officer, overseeing how we innovate and use technology in Minded. And what Laurențiu does really well, and I hope that he won't be mad at me because I didn't share this intro with him before, is that he really is very good at building bridges between the business knowledge and also the technology stack that we are using. So he is translating what we need from a business point of view, from a return on investment point of view, into how we can make that happen with technology and especially with AI. So he will share with us part of his knowledge today, and of course his teams. And we want to have a very hands-on session. So as I mentioned, if you have any questions, please drop them in the dedicated section. And very short about Minded. So Mindit has been founded 10 years ago and is a data and AI transformation company. And from the very beginning, we had the opportunity to work with big enterprise customers in retail and financial services and banking, leveraging basically the latest technology in order to drive and to build business value. We currently have 4 delivery centers across Romania in 4 major centers, and also 2 business development centers in Frankfurt and in Zurich. Most of our partners are from Germany and Switzerland, so from the DACH region, and we have a strong expertise when it comes to understanding retail, understanding the business processes, and working with top-notch technologies such as Databricks, Microsoft. We are also their partners to leverage the data and to build insights. Over 250 engineers and people in minded, and very happy to shape how the industry is working and how we can contribute to basically build better software for a better world. And with that, Laurencio, I pass the mic to you. And again, why AI in boards? Why do we need to bring the boards on board?
You said it, yeah. I think it's. I think we need to have the executive team being. I think we need to have them using AI, yeah. And once they use AI, they understand how they can benefit of it, and then they can talk about those changes within the company. You know? But let's jump first into what is generative AI. Let's understand a little bit the context. Everything started in 2017. What happened then? We have, well, before, even 20 years before, we have chess engines like Stockfish or like Deep Blue beating Kasparov in 1997. Yeah. But what happened in 2017, we have AlphaZero, which managed to learn chess on its own. Yeah. The engineers that design AlphaZero just put into the platform the rules of playing chess. AlphaZero managed to play on its own and learn how to play chess, learn strategies, and then it managed to be in 2017 the best, let's say, chess engine in the world at that moment. Yeah? And this is really something great, show that AI can learn things on its own. Yeah? And this was a transformative moment. There was another transformative moment happening in 2016, but I will not tell you about this. You can just Google Move 37, AlphaGo 2016, and you'll understand. Yeah, that was another moment where machines prove that they can become creative. Yeah. So back December 2017, we have AlphaZero, which is the ultimate chess champion. Yeah, it was a neural network, deep learning algorithms within it. It was a neural network which was containing only 100,000 neurons. Just to put in perspective what it means, 100,000 neurons, it's like a spider has the same number of neurons. Yeah. So imagine like having such a tiny little thing and can do such complex things, yeah, like AlphaZero have done. In comparison, human brain has 85 billion neurons, yeah, and those neurons from the human brain are much more complex. So the potential of us as humanity being even much more complex systems, it's really much bigger, yeah. This was 2017. It came a period of innovations. A lot of companies started to build models more and more complex. OpenAI was launched in 2018 or 2017. GPT-1 was launched in 2018. Effectively, GPT became popular in 2019. Yeah, but biggest impact, yeah, like really popular, had become in 2022 with GPT-3. By that time, GPT-3, the number of neurons in GPT-3 was the same size as the number of neurons that you find in Gecko, yeah. And then GPT-4, 2023, which is a very popular large language model. Even like recently, 1 month ago, several weeks ago, OpenAI released GPT-5, and people they were very much fond of GPT-4. GPT-4 had the number of neurons as in octopus, yeah. So imagine all the capabilities that GPT can come with, and still comparing with the human brain, the number of neurons are much more reduced, yeah. This is.
I wanted to have a question here.
Yeah.
Because I'm really curious. Do you think that in the future, now we can see an exponential growth. In the future, can we expect to keep the same growth in terms of impact from one GPT to another, or other large language models, not necessarily GPT?
That's a very good question. To be frank, like the progress on the last models or within the last years, it's in, let's say, single digit improvements in terms of what the models can do. Yeah. But they are really, let's say, high in capabilities. Yeah. So the progress is not really exponential. What it happens, it's a function which depends on the data that you feed into the models. Yeah.
Okay.
And how you train the models and how you can make how the models as architecture evolve. Yeah, because there were like large language models, and now we have large reasoning models, which are models that before they are providing an answer, they are building a path for obtaining this answer. So the technologies, I think we will still have great breakthroughs. Yeah, but in terms of technology, yeah, and how those systems are built. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was just a little bit of an ecosystem to understand the impact of change that is happening and the impact of change that came with generative AI. Generative AI, it's a subcomponent of artificial intelligence. Yeah, the artificial intelligence is a general domain which it's about systems that can learn, reason, and act on their own. Yeah. Within artificial intelligence, there are automated systems and there is machine learning. Yeah, machine learning are algorithms which they get data as input and produce data as output. Yeah? Machine learning is more, or traditional machine learning is more about structured data, more about prediction within a set of possibilities. Yeah? Then under machine learning, we have deep learning and generative AI, which is a subset of deep learning. Generative AI is more closer to processing unstructured data and producing new content that it was not trained on, but it's a content which is similar with the content that was trained on. Yeah? And this content can represent everything from text to images. The text itself can be, I don't know, a business plan, a workflow, something which the models have learned from the data. Yeah, and again, you have those big systems, billions of neurons in the network. You throw in all the data which is on the internet, it learns patterns. Yeah, and this is what generative AI is very good on, getting patterns out of it, patterns which can be used to compose something or to orchestrate something. Yeah. And we are going from traditional machine learning, which is providing a simple output, to generative AI, which is creating something. Yeah, but again, something which is aligned with the data that was trained on. Yeah. So we have creative machine learning. Before jumping into the scope of the presentation, which is the board,
The essence of why we are here today.
yeah, it's. I think we need to understand a little bit of how technology is adopted in enterprises. And for example, for generative AI, within 2 years, since 2022, the adoption rate got to 39%. So this was only in 2 years on the consumer market, on the consumer segment. Yeah. To put it in perspective, in comparison, the internet reached the same number in 5 years. Yeah, the PCs in 12 years. Yeah, so it seems like generative AI, like ChatGPT and tools like that, within 2 years we have 39% of population playing with it. Yeah, usually with enterprise systems, there's a delay in the adoption. Yeah. And this is what's going on. There was this delay. We currently see that more and more enterprises are adopting it. Actually, what's going on right now, it's a second wave. The first wave where people, it was like fear of missing out, companies jumping on it and trying to do. Now are companies which they really understand how the things are going and they are properly implementing it. And there are 3 different drivers of adoptions in enterprise. One is the technology. We have more and more models. We have models which are open source and which you can use in your own deployments. We have competition between model providers. So this is on the technology side. We have reduced costs. So the costs right now, comparing with 2 years ago, like are 100 times, 1,000 times much cheaper. So you can apply generative AI to more of your business processes. And one very important aspect for companies is that the regulatory landscape is quite evolved, and you have regulations which can help you apply AI to your business processes, considering client interactions, employees, and other things like that. Yeah, so we have a major environment in which we can operate. And for example, there are a lot there are a lot of companies which are applying and using generative AI. This is an example of Walmart, but there's something smart which they've really done. They've brought the large language models, and they've used decades of data that Walmart had. Yeah, so combining the two of them, so large language model which understand neural language, it's able to produce something which makes sense, putting it together with decades of data that they have about their customer, about the product, and so on. They managed to run a chatbot, Wallaby was named, which has a huge impact on the business, yeah, and making their CEO be really enthusiastic about this technology. So I think now we are at the point in which we are going to discuss how a board can really leverage generative AI tools, and we'll discuss about use cases, considering the board responsibilities. And just like a fun fact, we asked ChatGPT to give us a nice joke, yeah, considering the scope of the presentation, and this is what it came with, both image and text, and this was funny.
I love that also the joke is AI generated. But apart from a very interesting, to say the least, humor that AI can bring to the board table, what else can it bring, and how it can help?
Okay, we are jumping into it. We need to understand that boards, okay, and it can cascade to the executives in the company, but the board has four main areas of responsibility. Yeah, one area it's about boardroom operations. Another one is strategic planning for the company. One is operational efficiency and performance monitoring of the company, and the other one is risk management. And we are going to jump in on each of those areas. Yeah. But even before that, yeah, if you are a board member or advisory board member, you want to be a board member, or even if you are an executive, yeah, there are two things which you can do at this moment, yeah, to take advantage of generative AI, independent of the use cases that I'm going to share. One is to have your own virtual board advisors. Yeah, so imagine you have your own assistant. You can choose a platform from OpenAI or Gemini or any other provider, and build your own advisor, for example, on compliance issues, on strategic aspects of the company, and work with that advisor. Yeah, have it in like you have discussions with any of your board members. Yeah? And those will be your private army of board advisors. Yeah, they can process large amount of data. You can work with them. So you should do that. And the second thing that you should do, if you're a board and executive, use research tools. Yeah, there's like deep research from Google, there's from OpenAI, there's Perplexity. I think daily we are facing complex problems, and if we put in our arsenal tools like that, we are ready to go. And those are things which you can do it like within the next 15 minutes. You can have both of them up and running if you don't already do this. Yeah. So again, virtual board advisors and use research mode from those providers. But let's jump in. Streamline boardroom operations, yeah, for information flow. Usually board members, they work with a big set of materials. Yeah, they need to read it, they need to read reports, they need to understand things which might pop up from those reports. They need to organize the information for their own understanding. An AI, a generative AI, can do that very easily, and it can do it in a couple of seconds of minutes, depending on how much those materials are. So that's one use case. Agenda preparation, yeah, or agenda automation, yeah. It's there has to be a an alignment between the board members about the topics that are going to be discussed in the board, and in the same time, you need to schedule, when the board will happen, or when some specific things like action items from those boards will happen. An AI can act as a personal assistant doing this for you, and it can do that anytime. It can generate minutes of meetings. It can do follow-ups up about things like that. Communication enhancement. This is across the lines that I was saying. Action points tracking. Communication enhancement is very good, especially when the board meetings are happening in online or in hybrid mode, where you can have some people in the boardroom and some people which are attending online. Communication can be very much, you can have transcripts, you can have information extracted from those transcripts, do automatic follow-up and tasks, action points out of it, communicating the decisions that was taken within the board with the rest of the company or with the executive team. Those are things which Gen AI tools and assistants which are out there can help already. One aspect which I really like a lot is like an AI system can help you, and it's a little bit aligned with the first point, but here I'm talking about the fact that AI can be used to process large amount of data, enabling the board put questions in a natural form and getting answers from their data. So imagine, like, instead of having some reports which have to be produced on some specific aspects about the company, you can have the board asking the questions that they're interested about, and that question, which is formulated in a natural language, will be translated in let's say, in a simplified form in queries which are run over the BI system. And here we are talking about like conversational BI and things like that. And again, it will usually, how the board are functioning, they receive reports, they look to the reports, and they think about the interest of the company. But if they have a tool which can provide this information immediately, this process is much streamlined. So this is automatic insights. So transforming raw data into board-ready reports. Let's go a little bit on the strategic planning and decision making. One thing which generative AI tools can do very easily is to process, let's say, online data, news, reports which are issued by different organizations and companies, and monitor trends which are appearing from that. Detect emerging trends and market shifts in real time, do some analysis, insights extraction, things which are of interest for the board. Mitigate biases. If the board is only getting the information through the executive team, that information might be, let's say, influenced. Not like it's a bad thing, but it might reflect one person's vision over it. You can have AI systems which are really objective. They will tell you the information as it is. And if you have this information processed through them, it's eliminating, let's say, the human in the loop. We don't want that, but we want to have access to the right data in the right format at the right time. Scenario simulation, again, generative AI system, large language models or large reasoning models, they work with data in all kinds of formats. They can simulate complex strategic scenarios. They can quantify likely outcomes. We'll be talking soon in the operational about the prediction model, which is much more improved. Again, reducing information asymmetry. This is about the fact that the board is receiving some reports which are produced by the management. It doesn't have access to all the reports or all the information that the management have done. And this is because, let's say, board time is very precious. You cannot process all that information of data. But what it means that when you see some specific reports and some specific information, that information might be biased. Again, if you have an AI system which creates the link between you, yeah, the person that is consuming the data and the data that the company is having available within the system. It can be in the BI system, in the data warehouses, different operational systems. Then you can ask any questions that you want, yeah, and then you would have really up-to-date information, yeah, without any interpretation, objective, and this is really good when you want to have a clear view about where the company stands, where it goes, and so on. Operation efficiency, task automation, board member, they have their own tasks that they need to do, their own action points. They have to analyze a lot of data. They need to create reports. And there are multiple tasks which can be done. AI can be used for task automation. I will just make a little bit of a slide note about task automation and generative AI. Usually in a company, you have business processes, which those are like, let's say, standard flows, which are implementing. Like this is the graph approach for a process. You can see this in handcrafted workflows. 2024 came with AI agents, which basically you can think about it as like a large language model having some tools, and you interact with the large language model, and through the tools, there are some actions which are happening. This is good. Those systems are used in place. There are some potential, let's say, challenges with them is that sometimes the AI can be very creative, and you want to control that. And this is why we are currently, within the last period, we are talking about agentic workflow. So you have like large language model or large reasoning model, which is proposing a set of actions for the kind of task that you want to run, and the human is just approving it. Yeah? And then you have the AI executing it. Yeah. So
How you control it?
sorry?
Is how you control it?
That's how you control it. Yeah. If you have an agent, we just have access to, let's say, your financial system, HR system, and start to do actions there, things might go wrong. Yeah. But that's why we are talking now about agentic workflows, where you have the AI agent that is putting a plan. Yeah. It's saying, look, okay, I will look into the finance, I will look into the HR system, I will look in the CRM, I will do these actions. Do you approve? Yeah. And you can say, yeah, you can approve. And that can be used as a risk, like a scenario for similar questions in the future.
And therefore, is it right to assume that by doing that, we can expect an increase in the quality of the results?
Yes, and that's on one side, and on the other side, it's an increase in the trust in the system. Yeah, and as you approve this kind of workflows, the system learns. Yeah, and next time it will propose, let's say, workflows which are closer to what you need. Yeah, and eventually, if that was already approved, you can go and execute it because it was approved once. Yeah, but that's how it goes. Yeah, and this was just a little bit to understand and to trust a little bit the AI, yeah, the generative AI in that case. Yeah. Let's go a little bit. Performance management is the process by which performance towards specific targeted goals is measured. Yeah. Usually, this is how boards are functioning. There are specific targets, and they are measuring it. Again, if you have you can have AI agents which are monitoring the company KPIs, direction, things that are happening, and they can report this against your targets. Yeah, it can reduce a lot of time. Yeah, it's you as a board, you give the direction. You as a board or as an executive member, you give the direction, and you have the AI system, the agent, which is looking of different kind of aspects, is telling you whether it's on track or not. Yeah, it's providing objective insights, as I said, remove bias from calibration, offering real-time feedback about the performance of the company. Enhanced forecasting. Forecasting, it's something which was done with AI since tens of years. We had regression models in the past. We had neural networks, deep learning, and transformers with generative AI. Transformers is the technology that is powering generative AI. It's very good when you do forecast. Those algorithms are very good when you do forecasting as well, because they can process a wide range of data inputs and a wide range of scenarios, and the quality of prediction is really good. And we see that generative AI can be quite good in doing this. Yeah, it can interpret external factors like weather, events, market conditions, political condition, news, things like that. and give you advice. Real-time monitoring. This is about real-time monitoring on the company metrics, allowing the board focusing on the strategic decision or strategic direction. If you know you have a good monitoring system in place, you don't really have to check all the numbers always. You just, if you have the system put in place, it works. You just read the report that, okay, we are on track, or you should look on those specific aspects of the company and stuff like that. I don't know, churn of the users or revenue dropping, not being on target and stuff like that. Risk management and compliance oversight, anomaly detection. It can be anomaly detection from financial transactions. As a board member, you have responsibility for what happens with the company. You are directly responsible of some things which might go wrong. So again, detects anomaly in financial transaction, I don't know, supply chain disruptions, cybersecurity threats, things which can help you sleep better at night as a board member. And if you have rapid alerts, you can rapidly mitigate and take the proper measures. In the end, you are not really, you are responsible as a board member, but if you take the right decision when something happens and quick, then this is okay. Risk prediction, it can predict, I don't know, credit defaults, market volatility, geopolitical events, supplier failures if you have a big chain of suppliers. It can monitor, let's say, financial reports from the suppliers and alert you in case something might be not as expected with some of your suppliers, where you have a high dependency or political context and things like that. Regulation monitoring, companies, they have to implement GDPR, sustainability reporting directives and stuff like that. Those are things which are requiring a lot of time. And sometimes, like in banks, for example, this regulation compliancy, it's really a lot, probably it's like more than 50% of the work, which is done on the IT part within a company. You can use AI to automate that, like monitoring changes in regulations, check compliance for the system and for the processes, and just report to you where you need to take care. Same with ESG tracking, automatic reporting for this, providing comprehensive insight and sustainability impact reports. So this was a view over the responsibilities that the board has, and how generative AI specifically can help. But let's look a little bit into, because that's the company side, but we've observed as well that, and I wanted to touch a little bit to make it a little bit more generic, this presentation. We want to talk about generative AI within the companies, and within the last 2 years, we've observed which are the projects that offer quick wins or offer return of investment quite easily, and which are easy to implement in a company. And we've put some categories here. One is, for example, travel booking and expense management. This is very much related to the administrative work. Generative AI can be used to process documents, large amount of documents, extract information for them. Those are things which are currently done by people. You can automate that. Travel booking or different kind of activities, you can have systems which can take care automatically. You can have the AI just with a chat with the employee, choosing the hotel, making the booking, choosing the flight, and you can automate that rather than have like 5 or 6 emails going up and down within the company. And those are things which can leverage generative AI for a company without disrupting or without impacting any of the existing system. You are complementing it and you see the benefits. Employee onboarding, again, those are processes which are quite well defined within organizations. There's a lot of documentation within HR, how this can be done. You can have an AR buddy for every new employee and help him be on board. The HR buddy can respond to any questions. It's available anytime. Can monitor how the onboarding of the new employee is happening. Can see his activities and so on. It can really help. And just have the interaction with the team or the HR on really specific and particular use cases. Personalized customer support, this is well known. You have, and this is especially for companies which have a large customer base or a large let's say, standardized set of services and products that they are offering. Usually from the daily customer support interaction, you can extract information and you can automate a lot of customer support issues. Tickets creation automatically, eventually responding to tickets automatically. This is quite popular to be done nowadays. Tailor solutions to specific workflows related to the issues that the customer have. And data analytics and reporting, I'm coming back to this point, which is very much similar to what we were talking about the board. It's about getting information through natural language. It's like conversational BI or conversational analytics. There are technologies which you can deploy on top of your existing infrastructure. Basically, how it works: on top of your data, you define a set of metadata, you specify what that data means, and then you have the large language model or large reasoning model, which based on metadata that you are defining is translating a user request in queries, which are propagated down the line, and the information is retrieved back. And again, technologies which can complement existing infrastructure. And like data analytics and reporting can serve multiple departments within a company. And you don't really need to wait for a new report to be built by the analytics team and so on.
Quick question, not necessarily here, because I really like how we can look at AI for multiple facets and perspectives. And for me, the potential of AI and being it a main driver for value in organization is without limit. So I feel that we are just scratching the beginning now, and that's lovely to be part of this transformation. But I want to ask you a question that I'm sure that it's on everyone's lips now. Let's say that we are part of a board and we say, okay, I want to use AI in order to be more proactive or be more productive or be more efficient. Be it management team, board team, a team that has a lot on their plate, need to juggle with multiple stuff, always keeping things up to speed. How do I start? Let's say it's my responsibility to implement that. How do I start?
So I was saying at the beginning, before talking about all the areas of the board, there's two things which you can do immediately. Yeah, one is build your own, let's say, virtual advisory board members. Yeah, and you can do that on different platforms. And you go and define your assistant. You specify what you expect from him, and then you start to share, information, questions, and so on. Yeah, that's one. And this is what you can do as a board member without talking with any of the IT infrastructure team members. And the second is using deep research. Yeah? That will give you a feeling about how you can benefit of that. Yeah. And secondly is if you really want to have an impact within an organization and do it properly, you need to engage, specify your expectations to the IT team, and put in place, let's say, a framework in which people can experiment. And I'm talking here about like business people, but as well IT people, technical department, in which technical department can offer the infrastructure. Yeah, they can understand your need and then can put in place the infrastructure for you. Yeah, but it has to be a dialogue, and we are going to discuss shortly a little bit of what you should do as a board member from this perspective. Yeah. But before that, I just have another slide, which is talking about, because companies, enterprises are using machine learning since, I don't know, several decades in production. Yeah? And us in Mind, we saw like in 2015, 2020, a lot of companies were deploying, for example, demand forecast models to be used with doing price management or promotion or inventory management in a retail company. What we see lately is there's a generative AI layer which comes through the, let's say, which is instantiated through assistants and agents, which can help people operate faster. Yeah, they can look on different on the same data that a human will look, but they can look faster and can provide advice. Yeah, is the orchestration layer, which is based on the logic which a large reasoning model has. Yeah, so again, companies that are already doing AI with traditional machine learning, now they are stepping up and they're adopting generative AI for having a layer of assistant, becoming more productive, in running their applications. Coming back to your question here, what the board should do, and I think one of the most important responsibilities of the board is to implement a so-called AI adoption framework. AI is already changing industries. Competitors are adopting it. Some of them are just doing it because it's a hype. But you really need to do it in a proper way. You don't need to become an engineer as a board member. But you need to understand how it can use you and to understand what is hype and what you can do with it. And this is why we have this presentation. I think it's like, for the board, which gives the vision for the company, they should get used in using AI, and then they know what they can request. And there were some statistics from Business Consulting Group last year in October, in which they were saying like 74% of companies fail to scale AI projects or to implement successful projects. Even more, 1 week ago, there was a study from MIT in which MIT was saying that only 5% of generative AI projects is successful. And this happens from various reasons. The most important is that it's not the technology itself, it's understanding what technology can do, how it can be implemented, and how it can deliver. So in the end, it's about people. And you need to have the people on board. And our advice usually when you talk about how you can implement generative AI within the company is to start with the problem. Look at the problem and think, okay, it's something that AI might help me. Don't push too much with science fiction scenarios. It has to be a normal evolution. But choose a problem first and then think about a solution. Don't come with the fear of missing out and start say, okay, let's implement AI. It's just choose a problem, work with the IT department to have the proper infrastructure in place. And I'm talking about infrastructure, I'm talking about the data layer and the AI layer on top of it. Test different things. Try to implement something, see if it's successful or not. If it's successful, celebrate it, scale it to the entire organization. If it's not successful, try again, learn and try again. It's important to experiment. To build a company. The company should have such a setup in which it encourages people to use things. Like even us in Minded, we are using AI for different things. Sometimes we see that things are not going the right way. Like, for example, the costs are growing, and then you need to, with AI usage, and then you need to understand why and optimize. But we don't stop people trying and experimenting, and you need to encourage that within the company.
Laurentiu, in the light of the time, because we already have some super interesting questions in the section, let's try to wrap it up in about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we will allocate the last 15 minutes to the questions so that we can answer all of them.
So let's do it like that. In terms of AI implementation models in the company, you need to understand there are 3 ways in which you are using the AI. One is you can use AI to augment helping people work better, basically. So one is for augmentation, one is for automation, and one is for innovation. Automation is about reducing cost, and innovation is about creating new value, new services, new products. Usually the cost and timeline is different if you talk about augmentation innovation. And it depends where you are on the path of adopting AI. If you are in early stage, focus on augmented solution. You will have in a couple of months some results, some success, people will be happy, and you'll have the support in the company. If you've already done that, next stage is automation innovation for using AI. And responsibilities as a board member, well, one, you need to be the North Star, which means that You need to approve AI project, approve and talk about an AI adoption framework. Yeah, so you need to understand how you as a company encourage AI projects. Yeah, participate in demos. Yeah, your team will create all kind of pilots. You need to participate, understand, talk about them. Yeah, this will encourage people, will provide feedback. We encourage usually when we talk with our customers to allocate at least 5% of their R&D on high risk projects, and this can be the AI. Looking at the numbers, how many projects are failing, this might be high risk project, but it can be high reward projects as well. So 5% of R&D, if it goes on that area, it's great. Fast track decisions. Yeah, when you look, evaluate the solution, whether you want to test it with AI, whether it works or not, whether you scale it or not, just take decision fast. Become an AI augmented leader, which means, do AI crash courses, learn about it. Yeah, you will not become an engineer, but learn. Yeah, then you can have good discussions with all the departments in the company. Leverage AI insights and lead by example in the end. Yeah, show curiosity, adaptability, and responsible use of AI in the end. Yeah, and we have another joke. Yeah, on closing the. It's a longer.
Closing the loop with another joke.
Yes, from AI. Yes, so I think that was it. Thank you for staying with us until now. Any questions that we have?
Yes, we do have questions. So the first one is from Bogdan. Thank you very much, Bogdan. And Bogdan is asking, some or most of the information is confidential. How can we cope with concerns about sharing confidential infos with LLMs?
Okay, that's a good question. There are several options, and well, this depends by the company. Yeah? So there's a level in which you use the model provider, let's say, and you trust the fact that they are saying in the terms of use that they don't share the information is not used for training. That's level 1. Level 2, you can have the large language models hosted on your own tenant, and they're like all major cloud providers, they can offer that. Third, you can have your own deployment. Yeah, you can put in place your own systems, take an open source model and run it there. Yeah, so technically, nothing should stop you doing that. Yeah, and now it depends on the kind of information that you are selling. There's personal information. You can hide things which are personal from the message, from the interaction with the large language model. So there are already solutions which are quite standard currently, yeah, and options. But it depends very much as a company how much you trust, yeah, let's say, how much you want to control this, yeah.
Bogdan, if you would like to hear more or if things are still unclear, just write in the section and we will elaborate more or come back to you directly. Thank you so much. Another participant is asking, with the rapid pace of technological advancement, choosing the right AI solution provider is kind of challenging. Of course it is. It's really challenging. It's a challenge that we see also with our partners as well. What advice do you have on it, Laurențiu?
Okay, that's a good question. Usually we come from the technology, with a technology background. There were some discussions about potentially like the AI hype has like a 2 trillion in value, which might be wiped out from the market. This is because a lot of AI companies came with new services out there, yeah? And our advice usually is to invest in technology, yeah? Like building your proper data layer where you have information about your company, building the proper, let's say, large language hosted models in your own tenant. So build your own infrastructure. So invest in technology rather in services which are doing one specific thing. Yeah. So invest from AI perspective, invest in technology, which means like data, have the proper governance of your data, and then AI models in your own private tenant and proper governance there as well. And models are keep evolving and technologies keep evolving. And if you manage and if you have ownership on your roadmap, then you are much safer than if you just buy a third-party product, an AI solution for a specific problem.
Thank you, Laurencio. The next question, I have a feeling that you will reply with it depends, but I'm curious to hear your answer. Which large language models are the best? What do you recommend?
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, what I would recommend is to when you use now it depends where you use it, of course. It depends. If you
Here we go.
integrate it within your processes or your applications, build it in a way in which you can switch between large language models and have a layer of observability, and you can see what's going, how the large language model responses, you can evaluate it and things like that. And in that case, any large language model will work because you will take your decision based on how a language model fits your specific scope. Yeah. Uh, Other than that, it's you need to try them out and play with them depending. But I would advise build it in a generic way, and you can do that in nowadays. So you can switch between and don't be locked in. Yeah.
So it's not an easy answer here. It really depends, as we said, and it depends on the type of need that you have, of course, type of resources, and what really works best for you. And you can find that out by trying and by testing or by coming and working with a partner that already basically saw this kind of challenge in the past and can guide you or support you in making a decision.
Yeah, and usually it's like, and it depends where you need to run the large language model, whether you run it in a private environment or public and so on.
And before taking the last question that we have, guys, I would just like to remind you to take a few minutes at the end to provide us with feedback. It really helps us to improve and to make sure that we come up with more, let's say, engaging and topics that you are interested in, and to make sure that we keep the momentum and to have monthly these sessions in which we come together and we share the latest technology practices that we learned and find out also your curiosities. And yeah, it's a tradition that we really care about, and your feedback is very important. And the last question that we have is from Maria, asking if we are providing a white label solution for an internal board AI tool.
Uh, it man,
It depends.
it depends. Um, we provide advice on how you can do all those things that is done there, and we can help implement. And again, it depends on the size of the company, where the board runs, budget, expectation, the volume of data, because we were talking there about conversational, let's say, uh, intelligence with your data, business intelligence with your data. It's we definitely can put in place solutions for all that. Yeah, it's there's not like a white label. It's not a product off the shelf. Yeah, and sometimes it's those things are very much tied with a company environment and ecosystem, which can be like whether they have the systems on premise, they have it in cloud, which cloud, and things like that. Yeah?
So Maria, the short answer is it depends. We
Depends.
can. Maria, I was head of market business intelligence at the Big Four, so I know what I want. That's very good. If you know what you want, we would be more than happy to explore that together.
We'd be really curious to understand more about the use case. And
Yeah.
there is there are things which can be done quite rapidly today, and uh, we use technologies. We don't want to talk specifically about one technology or another, but we use technologies which can rapidly enable those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good.
as well, okay.
That was all. Guys, if you do have more questions, we still have a few more minutes left. If not, thank you so much for joining today. Yes, Maria, we will reach out separately. Thank you so much.
We need to talk with Maria.
Yes, and she seems to be in Zurich, so definitely we can grab a coffee in Zurich.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you so much, Laurentiu, for sharing it
Thank
with
you.
us, for building a bridge, as I said in the beginning, between business and technology. Thank you to all the participants. Hopefully, it was helpful for you and valuable. Don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like to elaborate more on any topic that we have discussed today. And we would be very happy to have you with us next month in September.
Thank you. Thank you for everybody being with us today.
Thank you, guys. Have a good afternoon.